Welcome to NoCoast. Thanks again for joining us on a new episode. If you guys haven't seen our other episodes, go to our channel and check those out. With that said, let's meet the guys. To my left, we got B.
What's up?
We got Yi.
Yo.
We got Lee Pao.
Hey.
And then today we have the luxury of having Ching in the studio.
What's up, guys?
All time.
Yeah, sorry.
So if you guys don't know, Ching is our other member of NoCoast. He actually lives out of state, so it's a pleasure to have him in a home.
Thank you guys as always.
Yeah, to have for an episode.
Yeah.
So let's just get straight to it. With our nationalities, culture, and religion, we have so many different things that we do, right? So, for example, like funerals and weddings, we do things. It's the same gist, but it's different backgrounds, so people do it differently. Correct?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So today we want to kind of like dive deep into like not too deep, but like dive into like our cultural wedding, our specifically our Hmong wedding, and how the process, what it's like, what it consists of. Because this past recently we just went through another wedding, so kind of seeing it from another perspective. As you grow older, you kind of see more details that you probably didn't see when you were younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
So kind of, I wanted to kind of just like say, hey, let's sit down, let's talk about this. Like, what do you see? What do you guys think of the Hmong culture, of just the wedding in general? So
Gotcha.
obviously, traditional Hmong weddings can be like complicated. It's a process, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot that really goes into it. So I just want to start with like, when you think about like Hmong weddings, what's like the first couple things that you might think of if you just say, oh, there's a Hmong wedding that I gotta attend to? What do you think of?
Long,
Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
long, exhausting ass day, dude.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
So when you say like long, exhausting day, like what goes into it being so long and exhausting?
A lot of drinking, cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whole lot of
Traveling.
Traveling.
Yeah.
If you live far, that's even worse.
Yeah, the first thing I think of Hmong wedding is drinking. First thing you pops in
You
my
cannot
head.
have that without a Hmong
I
wedding.
guess so. Yeah. I think we've just been to so many weddings and Hmong weddings where like it's just everything is revolved around drinking. Not saying that all of it is, but like there is drinking almost at every wedding that we've gone to. And go, hey, you have that drinking aspect attached to Hmong wedding. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So it just pops in my head right away when I think of Hmong weddings.
Do you think like do you think that's just traditional Hmong weddings, or do you think like the new generation weddings are kind of like that too?
I think that's something that I don't know if we can consider it traditional. However, I think we've been accustomed to, in the States here, we have access to alcohol. So then, obviously, living here, we do more of that, versus I think back in the homeland, I think that's more of a luxury.
It is.
Not everybody gets to drink. They don't buy a shit ton of alcohol. So I think here we have access to it, like I said, and then sometimes we go overboard with it.
Yeah. Off of that, like, I know what you're talking about because like my dad, he used to like be a part of the weddings a lot. Like they call those people like negotiators or ligongs. And I and one time I did ask, I was like, why is it that it consists of so much drinking? Like why is alcohol such a big part of it? And they said, well, now like you said, it's part of the process. The access to alcohol is much easier than it was back in the day, because back in the day it was considered like a luxury item, because now a lot of people could have afforded alcohol. And now today in today's world and where we're at, Quick Trip Festival, walk right
Anybody
down the
can
street.
buy it.
Right. I mean, you break that down and further, like you guys were saying. So when they were, back in the Laos or the Thailands of the world, right?
They brew that thing.
They brewed it. Yeah, alcohol was scarce, so like it was a luxury. Like it only, it takes a special occasion for them to bring it out, a wedding, right? To bring it out and to have drinks during the wedding. So like it takes time to ferment and like for it to actually do its job.
Distill and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think about weddings, you think about drinking. You think about traveling, time.
A lot of people.
A lot of preparation, people.
Mhm.
What are the things money? Money can
Money.
Food.
There's a lot of food, money that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's just I think the Hmong in general, the Hmong tradition, Hmong wedding in general, like Lipa kind of hit it on the spot. Like it's super exhausting to have like our parents and our cousins, our uncles and our and our aunties to be there like at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, prepping all week.
Yeah.
And cooking and cleaning and man, like if you haven't been a part of one, you really haven't. You don't know because I've been a part of one and I've helped, and it's crazy, dude.
You have to overcook. You have to over budget
Yeah.
because people show up and you don't have enough food. Like that's face value for you,
Yep. Yeah.
And the thing is, it used to be like 2 days long.
Yeah.
And then just when we got over here, we just cut it down shorter.
Actually, I've been to 2-day weddings before.
I
Here.
have too, but not recently.
Times have changed.
I can see it's
where
cut down.
where the groom goes the night of to their house to go, they do the negotiation, right?
The night
And
before.
then, the night
then
before,
sleep.
and then sleep, and then wake up and then
The other half.
chop and meat and cook and all over again,
Yeah.
Right.
But nowadays it's just just come in the morning and then get stuff done and leave in the afternoon, in the evening.
Because they do the negotiation like in the morning of the
Back in the day, you're talking about.
right. Well, no, now, right?
Now, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Or a lot of we have kind of transitioned to that. Just do one full day wedding where they just come, they do the negotiation in the morning, and then the number, and then the pay uno at the end, and right.
Yeah,
Right.
I think if time allows it to be within the day, right, then they would. Now it's been, now that's been more like common, just within the day versus the 2-day.
Yeah.
Right.
I also think too that like now it's not a lot of like issues with the families anymore, and a lot of like marriages now, like in our generation, like it's that we want to get married with each other. I think in the past it's more like and everything, and like with all
Forced
like
marriage.
those conflicts
Set
and
up.
shita, like
Sure.
I'm not happy with like you taking my daughter or whatnot. There has to be paying for this and this negotiation one. I think now a lot of it's easier for us because like we do want to get married. We do want to we like our partners. We fall in love with each other. It's like so it's a lot easier. It's like
Right.
like our son didn't come take your daughter. Your daughter want to come marry our son and everything. So
That's true.
it's both that consent. And I think that's what my opinion drives down a lot of that headache and whatnot too. So
I mean, we can break that down a little bit more, right? So like in
Yeah.
the traditional Hmong wedding, actually, it's it's ginmin, right? So that's it's a dowry.
Yep.
If I'm speaking that correctly. Where like, so if we have a son who's going to marry someone else's daughter, we have to pay for her,
Yeah,
right, to come into our family. And I guess there is a rate out there right now. I don't know the exact rate. You
I think
guys
it's
know?
5K.
It is 5K,
Yep.
that's 5K is pretty common,
right?
standard, I guess.
So-
I think the AT clan set it to 5.
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Oh, they did.
And do you guys know how they come up with the number? Do you know who makes that
I don't
decision?
know. That's a good question. I never really thought about that.
I think it was because people were like, okay, the bride side, they were like, I think they wanted too much from the groom side. I would feel because a negotiation at the time, like, oh, my daughter is really good. My daughter has it said this and that.
Yep.
And then they up the price, and then I think that's when
They kind of stepped in.
Everyone's like,
yeah,
whoa,
they kind
whoa.
of stepped in like, okay, guys, that's
you're
too
kind of
much.
going overboard with your daughter.
Yeah.
And
She
I
cool
think,
and everything,
I think that's how
but-
the whole like joke about Nyako Pa
Yeah.
came about, because when that happened, I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, I'm worth more than 5K. Like, how are you gonna put a price on my head or on us?" So
Yeah, I understand.
I mean, do you guys like that concept, that tradition?
It's unfortunate that our culture has a price on the daughter's head. Like, for example, like if I had a daughter, I mean, I'm in that position and I'm like a new generation. I'm not traditional anymore, right? If I had a daughter, I'm like, no, dude, like my daughter's way worth more than 5,000.
of course,
The love, the time, everything, the effort I put into
priceless,
her.
man.
Yeah, it's priceless.
Right.
I like it's tough because at the end of the day, it's culture, it's tradition.
Yeah.
It goes back to that's how we were raised, and that's how we've known it.
I've also heard too. It's like the money isn't just for the bride too, but it's also for like I think in the past it's like it's the money that could have acquired from all the help that the daughter would have helped the parents when they went to to the garden and whatnot, and how help them out with all the
The labor,
the labor and that kind of payment too. But yeah, I understand. I personally don't think it's needed in the future. I don't think I would continue with it with my family. So yeah, I mean, I do like the aspect of like the Hmong culture, us going to the house. But I think that part, me personally, I don't think I would continue on.
Yeah,
But
I think I have my opinion too. I think it has an origination why it came up and why they do what they did, and it goes off what you were saying too. So like, I kind of don't like using the word like her head. You know what I mean? It is like how like
That's the term, right?
right. Yeah, the whole. Yeah, like I think that's rude.
Yeah.
It's rude. It's like you're putting a bounty on
A person.
a person. That's just not cool. But like I think I get the idea of it because you see tu cai lo lo mo no na lu mo no and tu cai ba len do no and then they just come and take her away and she's not considered your family anymore.
Yeah.
What's the only way to I guess compensate that? And that's money.
I can see that. Yeah.
So like I get that idea, back in the day, maybe even now too, but like I think it has a bad like what is it, reputation, because it's like I'm using money to buy your daughter. Your daughter is an item to us. I think that's the reputation that it has, and granted, based off of what it is, and that's not right. So in my opinion, we shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, I think in a whole wedding, it should be like, hey, just celebrate these two lovebirds.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be the main focus, and how you want to run things and whatnot should be driven off of just that.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean, like I think the beauty about it now too, like I have heard that in some cases that, or like I'm not sure, like in certain cases that I think at the end of the day the parents don't even keep the 5K, and they just kind of give it back to the couple and everything, just to kind of
Yeah, we'll get to that in more detail too later.
So, yep. So I feel like it's a lot of it's changing now too, and even back to the alcohol too. I do think that yes, like with the Hmong weddings, it's a lot of drinking and whatnot, but I do see that we're slowly start to dwindle down and
transition.
Like, it's not always like strictly about that. We've been to wedding where it's like just pop and whatnot, bees.
What? Bees is more like a
Hybrid, man.
Yeah.
But like, say again, like compared to like some hours, which wasn't like as extent. Or
Mine
like
was just a party, guys.
It was a lovely party.
It was nice.
But yeah, so when you think about like Hmong weddings, obviously money, food, time, there's a lot that goes into the process. But when you think about the actual wedding itself, I always think of it having four main components to the wedding.
Sure.
The first would be the groom taking the bride home. Okay, I always consider that being the first initiation, the first part. Number two, the bride is initiated into the groom's family, which they also call in Hmong Betaki, right? Where they kite and stuff like that, correct?
Yep.
And then third, the wedding itself that takes place at the bride's home. And then fourth, when the bride and the groom return home, they do the Temekong, which it concludes at the groom's home. Okay, so with these four main things that I think are the important parts, I'll start with you, B. Like,
Sure.
Let's start with the number one. What happens when like the groom takes the bride home?
So, actually, the bride muche, right?
Yeah.
So that's like the initiation, like you were saying. This is if traditional aspect, agree or not, the son or the groom just takes the daughter to Palayoche.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess this is the formality where once they come into Palayoche or his mom and dad's house, this starts the wedding process.
Yes.
So then like right?
Yep.
So like JJ, like at the doorsteps they do the traditional. I think there's an elder that comes out, and the bride and the groom kind of stand by like the opening the door,
The doorway.
and then the lukai is kind of just signifying that like, hey, this is our daughter now,
Our people,
right? Our people, and then
part of this
basically,
household.
in a sense, it's almost like a religious thing. If that
Yeah.
Like
is
a
it?
like a ritual.
I don't know if it's a ritual, but
I've always thought of it as like when they do the whole chicken thing over the head, like they kind of like get her because like she's an outsider. She was considered an outsider, correct? So when she comes home with him into his house, into his family, I've always thought of the whole chicken thing as like the whole lukai thing, as in like her bad luck, her bad omens don't come through this door.
so it's like a cleanse.
Kind of. I've always thought of that.
Oh, sure.
Like I don't know if you guys
Maybe.
thought about that.
I always thought like, oh, they're inviting her spirit and with
That too.
become our
Yeah.
family
Yeah,
spirit.
that too.
Like, hey, house spirits, this is our person
Right,
now.
yeah.
Protect her.
Yeah.
She's part of us now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I've always. So then when they come inside the house, that's why everybody's like, oh,
Yeah, good law.
Yeah.
good law,
Yeah.
you know, like you're not coming no more.
Oh, you're here now.
You're here, yeah,
Yeah.
like as if you've arrived, you know.
Right. So then once the lukai is done with the elder, then like you were saying, they enter the door, and then this officiates the start of the wedding.
The process starts, yeah.
The process starts. His family welcomes her to officially to the house. To the family, and then from there, then the fisal, right?
Yes.
So fisal is where basically it's having one of his like family members go tell her mom and dad that, hey, go or like she's our family now, and like don't look for her. She's happy where she's at, right? So that's kind of like the fisal letting kind of know where we're at type deal.
Yeah.
And then honestly from there, then it's just kind of like, all right, hey, once both families know that, hey, these two, this is it. This is true that these two, no, she love each other. She yona, right? It's official now. Then they can start planning, all right, when are we doing the hupli kite?
Yes.
When are we doing this and this?
Yep.
the
Which
next stuff?
which brings me to like part 2 of it. Are you familiar with the whole petaki process? Like, do you know how that works?
I mean,
and
we've
if
been
you
through
do-
like 4 of them already.
Yeah, and if you do, can you please help explain the process to the audience?
I think the reason why they call it petaki is, it's a time period where, almost like, hey, if y'all not really about it, like y'all got 3 days, right?
Yeah.
After 3 days, then it's like boom, it's on.
It's official.
Yeah, and so
Official.
after the fisal tate, they would obviously, if both sides agree, then I think the son or the groom, the hupli kite, saying inviting all the relatives from the groom's side specifically, right? I mean, not that the bride side can't come,
Yeah.
but this is for the groom side doing it for her, right?
Yep.
So then it's like kind of like a party or
Initiation.
so like a
blessing.
initiation, a blessing
Yeah.
for her that hey, we're happy that you're here. We're gonna tie strings on you guys. Congratulations,
Correct.
And so here's to you guys to start a ning and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's on the groom side.
Yeah, that's on
does
the
that.
groom side.
Yeah.
And then that's actually a good explanation, because like that's pretty much how it really does go, because it is just like the groom just inviting his side of the family. Like 90% of the time it's the groom side. 10% maybe some of her relatives maybe
Yeah.
come, but majority of the time it's gonna be the groom side.
Yep.
They come, they sit at the table, they eat, they congratulate the kite, they give money as like
They give money,
a
blessing
gift.
monies.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like these days, that's the thing in general. Like, money is like the best gift to really give, because Ching, you said earlier, like it's to right?
Yeah,
When you kind of
yeah.
start, when you kind of want them to start their life, you kind of give them a little, money on the side, just to kind of help them buy whatever they need to kind of upstart their life.
Yeah, yeah.
But with that, we get to obviously the third part after the petaki, and then comes the actual wedding. So the actual wedding, back in the day, like Lee Paul said, it took up to like 2 days. Sometimes it took up to 2 days. They would go and sleep over at the Nitayiti's house, the bride's side, and then negotiations and everything would start that Saturday. Correct? After the Friday, they slept over. But now, like in today's world, like it's just you go the same day and you come back the same day.
Yeah, yeah.
So you this past wedding that we went to, obviously they consist of the bride being out of town, so you have to get up early, make that drive to the bride's side, and then that's when you start the whole process of the wedding. And with the whole process of the wedding, you obviously have the groom.
Positions, yeah.
Yep, you
Yeah,
got
yeah.
positions, the groom's best man, the bride, the bridesmaid, pretty much, which is consist of the groom's sister or first
Or,
cousin
yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that, and then the
Green lady.
the green lady,
Yeah.
yeah. And then the two negotiators, which in Hmong we call the two megongs.
Yeah.
Now, we can kind of get into like the many details of it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think kind of like sets the precedence of the wedding once it starts? Like the two megongs, obviously, right? When you first because when the wedding starts, the megongs always say, the negotiators always say, "Hey, follow our lead. We just do what we say. What we do goes."
Right.
Because
Just stick by
now,
our side, yeah.
now we're gonna go into their house. We gotta play by their rules,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's gonna be a lot of talking
Yeah.
back and forth. Be like, we experienced weddings before. Like, what was it like to actually start that process of a wedding?
Yeah, I think like all these are like formalities. I feel like now. So like the Mekong are really there, like you said, are like the mediators, right? They kind of help guide, the two families through these traditions, through these steps, so that there's no problems that will occur through I guess this meeting of the two family.
Yeah, yeah.
And really their job is though like just to really keep everything calm and collected
Smooth.
and smooth, and everything just goes smoothly. Now yeah, so like they have a very very important role. That's why a lot of things like that you right?
Yes.
So you have to be
Patient.
calm, patient, like you can't be very abrupt,
Yeah.
emotional.
You're a representative at that point.
Correct. Yeah. So like I mean to answer your question, when that process started out, like you're excited. I mean, I can speak on my opinion or my perspective, because when we my wife and I and like the Mikons and my Pilas and the Nitanjua, we went to I guess her family's location. It was almost like a formal like, oh hey, this is my first time meeting you guys, but really it wasn't.
Right.
But it was kind of like, oh hey, like
This counts.
this yeah, this is I guess this is the formal aspect of it. You go you like, oh like I'm happy, like I want to celebrate this with my in-laws. And it was kind of a I don't know, it was a neat experience. But mine wasn't like the traditional kind, because wife let Chicho follow the full on traditional.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
like they still did it for formality purposes so that everything runs smoothly, but they didn't make it hard or anything like that. They just kind of hey, this is our venue, this is how we're gonna do things, right? Yeah, we're gonna have these little steps here, but you know what? That's let that let the Mekons deal with like the step by step negotiations, all those stuff.
Yeah.
But then it's just kind of like, all right, let's meet.
Yeah, for those viewers who don't know what B meant by what he said, that when he said that, like when you're marrying their daughter and you go to their house, what they say kind of goes. So like if they say, oh, like we don't want to do so much drinking, then okay, then the two
Oh, yeah.
Mekongs will be like, okay, so they don't want any drinking, then no drinking involved. Like you said, like yours is kind of like a unique, yours is kind of like a little different. But you know, Li Pao, like me and you, we went through the whole kind of traditional wedding.
Oh,
And Cheng,
Cheng.
excuse me. You, me, Cheng went through the whole traditional wedding. Like, when they do the whole negotiating or the mediators, like what B was saying, what happens next? Like, you know, when you gotta go sit at the table, right? You gotta sit at the table. What happens next?
Sit on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after all the negotiations is done, they all agree on like they both sides agree, and then you go sit at the table, and then that's when they start the what was it your tinting yeah. It was like 4
rounds.
It's
Yeah.
usually
rounds.
the same ones.
Yeah.
4 rounds.
Shit, I think mine was like 8, dude.
Yours was not.
Yo, not 8, dude.
Yours was easy,
His,
bro.
his was 8 because he kept getting up to drink with other people.
Dude, I think I must have misheard it, but yeah, go ahead, my bad.
But when they started the ting ting, and then everybody would just the all through they stand on one side, and the auto Lu stand on the other side, and then they started, and then when so one side starts on, so they started and it goes to both sides. So and when it goes down all the way down to the table, and then hits the Lu Megongs, and then that's when they finish it, and then that's when they started the second start another
Right.
one.
They do a toast.
Yeah.
So like
It was a toast.
I'll do Tomegong here.
Mhm.
They start the toast. That's one round of toast, and I think they do 4 rounds of toast to finish everything. But during each round of toast, though, there's like sitting. So like there's like songs that like Megongs had to sing to each other. There are activities like Idope, you know, that kind of are involved in some of those toasts.
Thank
Again,
yous.
yes, thank yous and stuff like that. Yep.
That's right.
And then all of a sudden, right?
Yeah.
Round, I think it's round like 3 or 4.
I was on 7.
I think
man.
3. So round this, I'm not sure. I forget what round it was. Lucia, you know.
That's gotta be 3.
Was it 3 then?
That's 3. Yeah.
What is that one again?
Shoot, I just
You're
I just
talking.
remember
You're
that.
talking about the one when the Hokete and then the Ochoro.
Everybody else.
Yeah, you're talking about that one, right?
It was well that one initiated the bay. So like the kneeling. So after like they kneel Diana, right? Then like there was one more round. So I think there's 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the third one. They like the groom, Lupe, like their thank yous and like their paying respect to, you know, her family, their ancestors, and you know, everybody in the family. And then I think there's one more round of toast, and then that's where the Shijings look at that.
That's where they come, and the bride side of the family come and get you.
Yeah.
Drinks.
Yeah, which makes you like wonder, like, what do you guys? How do you guys feel about that? The whole Zheng part.
I think they go too overboard, dude. Like,
I think. Go ahead, my bad.
go ahead.
I think it's gotten better.
I agree. I agree.
I
with
think-
that for sure.
I think it's gotten worse, dude.
It used to be really bad from like my past
Hell
experiences.
yeah, I agree.
Like being on the opposite side, like being the person to Mujing, right? It used to be like, oh, let's get fucked up, you know, like fuck that shit, whatever, you know, like he's taking our sister or cousin, or you know, let's fuck him up, you know.
Yeah.
Let's make him like not remember shit, you know.
Or
But,
it's that Hmong saying, you know, got you look at your neck, got you look the more,
Yeah.
got you honor, got you lure, got you lure.
Yeah.
so I think it's gotten better. I think like people like are more mature about it. I think a lot of times the Mekongs agree that only in-house could do it. Some, you know, in some weddings. But go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, only in house. I got one random ass dude that wasn't in house to come up and give me some.
Didn't
I
we
was like-
stop him though?
I was like, "What the fuck you do? You're not even part of the family, dude."
Did you drink it?
No, I did.
It was random because when short story, when we were there at your wedding and he came up with like, what the hell is this guy doing here, dude? Like he's not even like part of the family. He's like doing this. So we ended up like stopping him, right, Lee?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's funny though. But yeah, the whole Xijing part, I do agree. I want to say that you are right. Like it has gotten a little better. Back in the days, man, it got really bad to the point where like people were like saying unnecessary things.
Yeah.
And those things will be like, you know, you guys
Almost
don't,
fights too sometimes.
Yeah, dude, like,
kind of crazy. Like
unnecessary things, just rude.
Just
you
to
know?
make him drink.
just
like,
to make him drink.
bro, drink with him next week, bro. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't the last time you're gonna drink with
yeah.
him. And I've always felt strongly about that. Like I've never really agreed with that in general. Like just I can drink with you like any other time. And today's the day that you want to try and like really, really like
Fuck me up.
mess me up. You know,
Send me to the hospital.
I would say I would respect like a genuine Jing. You know, like
you know when it's genuine.
yeah, you know, like a real one instead of someone just trying to
Mess you.
Mess you
throw a
up.
curveball
Yeah.
at you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I would respect and I would take a genuine one, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
I think too 好整 part like it has such a negative vibe to it that like it almost like outshadows the entire tradition
whole
of,
thing,
of
yeah.
the wedding.
Because it involves like
A whole lot of drinking.
Yeah,
that and people outside the positions.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is it. This is the moment. This is why I'm at the wedding.
This is
It's-
my time.
This is, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's like
So,
my time to shine, dude.
yeah, so then everybody takes it so seriously and so like personally
Yeah.
at times.
That's how he's gonna remember me.
And
Yeah.
then again, we were talking about reputation before, right? Like this moment right here is the reputation. Would you agree? Like when you
Yeah.
think when a lot of people ask you what's a Hmong wedding, is really a moment. Is really is
Yeah.
this moment.
Yep. Yep.
I guess if we as newcomers, and this is just my opinion too, is like if we want our Hmong wedding to represent our Hmong wedding, it just to me it's not cool,
It's
Yeah.
gotta be better.
right? I think there's so many beautiful parts to Hmong wedding, that gets
Outshadowed.
shadowed
Overshadowed.
because of this one moment here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just not fair for the bride and the groom, and both families, because it kind of gets ruined by alcohol at times.
Especially for the groom.
Yeah, because sometimes he doesn't even make it to the whole
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah.
So
And then his brother's got to replace him.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they don't
so-
make it to the Shang.
hey, so technically, did the brother get married to the wife, the sister, or to the?
Right.
Half and half, dude.
Anyways, it's a joke. So once the whole wedding ceremony ends at the bride's side, the whole party comes home back to the groom's side.
Oh, they got to make out. They got to come out.
Make
Yeah.
out.
You're right. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
explain
yeah.
that. You're right. Explain
Then
that.
they gotta
We got to leave, and then that's when a whole bunch of beer coming at you, too. It was like
That part
another
gets
round.
hectic. That part gets hectic too. So.
Yeah.
Lee, explain that. Explain that.
Yeah, so after after Jing Da, after Loa Tsing Da, they go in the line and go upstairs, and then they go straight out the door, and then that's when the Mikong and
the
Pilan,
front door.
the front
Yeah.
door, and
The
then
front door.
the Mikong and Pilan go find their luggage that they're supposed to get from the Numbari to Nutia.
You mean the groom and the pillar?
Yeah, the Green Pilan.
Yeah.
They're supposed to go find from Numbari from the Nutia, and then that's when the Numbari Nutia, they have like bears with them too, and then other people are like, "Hey, drink mine too, drink mine too." It was like, damn,
You
dude.
have one beer that you're trying to get, and everybody's trying to give you five.
Funny story. Let me. Sorry for interrupting. But funny story. This past wedding that we were at, the groom was walking outdoor, and one of the bride's sister was trying to get him to drink shots, and my boy Yee was like, no. So he ended up taking the bottle to help the sister.
We got video of that.
So funny. Taking the bottle, bro.
He took the bottle and he like didn't let her pour it. He took the bottle and just passed it along. Dude. Like it just disappeared.
Just
dude.
disappeared.
I think Yi actually just swigged it. Did you not?
Did you do
Oh,
that?
he did?
Oh, he just took the bottle from her hand, and she was like, "No, give me the bottle back! Give me the bottle back!" He just took the bottle and like gave it to the people behind him. Dude. That
funny
was
as heck.
funny as heck, dude.
Because she was kind of in the motion of pouring
Yeah,
it into the groom's
Yeah.
mouth.
Funny
and
as
then
heck.
he just grabs it.
I had to, man.
Hey man, that's
Damn,
a real,
dude,
that's a
that's
real one
funny
right
as
there.
hell,
That's
That's clutch, dude.
That's
Thanks,
real,
homie.
dude. But anyways, Lee, so you're saying that they had to go find the pila? I mean the number.
Mm-hmm.
Can't leave without.
Yeah, you can't leave without your luggage. And then after you drink the beer for them, and then they'll give you the luggage.
What's the luggage?
The luggage is a pate. The main four, the buyer for the groom, and then Luca for
Pilau.
the best man, you know. And then
Yeah.
after that, they grab that and they go run to the van. But to be honest,
Well,
I feel like we could do without the paella.
don't forget the umbrella. Don't forget another important aspect of it too is the umbrella too. So
I feel like we could forget the aspect of the paella. We could just come to the wedding without it and just after done Jay at all. You don't need to. I don't. What is really the point of?
I think
You
I
put
personally,
and good.
I think
Put the two things together, dude.
It becomes a diaper.
I think my opinion on answer that though. Okay, I think my opinion on like what to answer that, what to carry. I think for me it's like I think in the past they kind of want to keep the tradition alive because in the past a lot of it was walking, you know, like they had to walk to the village and everything. So it's like you had a sleepover, and that's why.
But nowadays, you don't even sleep over. You don't
Right,
even
right.
walk
That is
there.
true. That is true too. But I think that just one aspect that
It's a representation.
want to keep. You know,
Right.
that's still a part of our culture, and I personally think it's still pretty nice.
I don't know. I told my mom to change it. So
Yeah, what she say?
she's like, my one.
The joke get married up.
You don't have to do it.
One of it is uka. They like shoot in the royo.
Yeah.
So that's like your meal on the way back home. You guys eat it when you guys get hungry.
Yeah.
And then I think that pa is like
You sleep.
y'all sleep halfway.
Dude, for real, man.
It's like I think when they wrap it, they wrap like with like blessing words and good fortune stuff with it, and then so like and then don't open it till like y'all get in the room or your bedroom, something like that. I don't know.
that and
I have no
umbrella
idea,
thing.
dude.
I heard
That and the umbrella,
umbrella.
yeah, the
The
umbrella,
umbrella.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to sheet up by the first night you sleep.
It do what?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
I can't take it seriously. So, anyways, so after the whole wedding ceremony at the bride's side, you guys return home, right? You return home and you finish the wedding. That's part 4 of the whole segment. I mean, not the that's part 4 of the whole
Wedding process.
process. Is now you have to conclude everything at the groom side. That's the whole part. That's when you thank the two negotiators, the two mediators, right?
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have like a final meal with them. You get home. The mediators tell your parents or whatever that hey, the process of the wedding went smooth. They didn't have no complaints. There was nothing wrong with them.
Yep.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. This is the nyepikyo that was given to the bride and the groom
Yep.
from friends, family from all over
Yep.
to kind of start their life. So they get that number, and then they have that one final meal. Well, before they get home, they do they pay again, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before they get home, they eat the meal, they
eat
get
the meal.
home,
Yep.
and then
The pay to
And then the pay to, yep.
pila.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
doing
all the-
everything.
Pila actually sits on the table.
Yep.
Yeah. The whole
Yeah.
party.
And don't they like pay one more time for like the family that to kind of help them at the home and everything too?
Yeah, so
Back
it's
a
not
little bit.
just. I mean, it is mostly for the mikko, but it is for the people with the party
The party.
that help make the wedding go smoothly.
Yep.
I also want to add too. I know that I'm not sure because I know for my wedding party we had the two McGonsta, but we also had like 2 head of like our like was it well like also came with us just in case like like
There was some
negotiation
like and stuff like that. Yeah.
just in case it didn't everything didn't work out.
So,
Yeah.
so those represented
Your parents.
your parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
So instead of having your parents go, it's one of your.
Yeah.
Relatives.
cousin, uncle, or
Act
something.
I mean, we
As
still
your
saw my
parents.
pops.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the funny part too. Yeah.
Which normally you don't see that.
But I think that's just my pops.
It's
so-
been more common though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
been more common.
It's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Our
I'm the
pops.
dad. I want, I still want to see it run smoothly, but all the responsibility is on this guy who represents me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The end of it all, though, like the whole process of it really is just to be respectful to both families.
Yeah.
Come together respectfully to celebrate, son and daughter getting married.
Yeah.
But there are steps because of traditions and whatnot that we have to follow, right? But at the end of the day, like we're
Yeah.
bringing them together.
Yeah,
Type deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know, like that's just like if there are some like important things that we missed, let us know in the comments. You know, like let us know that, oh yeah, you guys forgot to mention this and that and this, because we just kind of did go into like small imprints of it. We didn't really go into like in depth. And if there's anything that we know that you guys want to know, like just ask us, and if we know, we'll reply back to you.
Male perspective of going into a Hmong
Correct,
wedding.
correct. too.
Obviously, the flip side is the daughter going to her parents' house and seeing them for the last time before she becomes
Right.
Yeah.
someone else's daughter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so there's that whole process, and then
Yep.
obviously, look, and all that.
Yeah.
So
I think it would be nice to hear a woman's
Yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
I think coming
can
from
add that
us,
to
we
one
can try to
segment.
understand as much as we can about the girl's perspective, and we can talk as much as we can about what we understand about them.
Mm.
But we don't fully
Actuality, we don't know.
know. We don't know
Yeah.
what they go through, and I hear a lot of like very emotional stories from
course.
daughters
it's
that go
Definitely.
for them, it's mostly emotional.
Yeah.
For us, is let's get this shit done, man.
Hullu, right?
Yeah,
Drink.
Oh, yeah,
ting,
man.
drink.
Yeah.
When I was there, like my wife is out like just chilling, like having fun. I'm just like, all right, I gotta go do this, gotta do this. Barely saw any of my friends.
See, I think that's why the times have changed, because usually the daughter or the couple, right?
Oh yeah.
She's usually busy like cooking, helping, setting up, whatever it is, with the green lady, of course, and the aunties and all that. But
And to echo off of that though, is that like front is us men, right? That has to the wedding can't go smoothly without us men to follow the thing, and it's not gonna get done. Actuality is the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
The ladies, she ba uno,
They put
and
all the
like
work
pour
into
all
it.
the work into actually making this work. There is no us. You know what I mean? So like a lot of that, is shrugged under the rugs, or shoved under the rugs, and like I don't know. I just have to give credits to them ladies. Like little wedding, period. You know what I mean? Like that's just true fact, and I think it just gets like I said, it just gets put behind.
Yeah, it doesn't get noticed a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's just been our culture too, though.
Yeah.
I think growing up, we've always been like, it's unfortunate that it has been like that because our culture has always been male dominant to the female. Like, because they always cook, we eat first, they clean, and then they eat.
yeah.
We get to just sit around, talk,
Drink,
shit with other people, and then they
wash dishes,
wash the dishes, they cook, they
clean up,
set up the table, they clean up, and et cetera, et cetera.
That kind of segues into our next part, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like knowing how like our weddings work, our culture, our traditions work. What are things that you like, and what are things that you dislike about, in your opinion?
Right. I mean, that what we were just saying, I think, is one thing that's very unfortunate that we continue to practice, and myself included, because I'm part of the wedding. Like we've been to many weddings, and we see these things that should not be happening, but yet we continue to let it happen. So like just you mentioned equality, right? Like you would love to have the ladies be more part of like the traditional stuff. Like we are in a new world now. You know what I mean? Like we are in a new culture, new world, new society that like, hey dude, it's not all about us men. You know, like the moms, the sisters, the aunties, the grandmas, like they are part of the family as well. And I feel like we have to find a way now to incorporate them. I think we are slowly doing that though.
I agree. I agree for sure.
I think we are. I've seen weddings. I mean, I haven't been to one, but I've seen weddings, online and whatnot, where like they include the bunny into the table.
Yeah.
And like that's a step forward. And I don't recall from what I've heard in the past that has happened. And
I've also seen
traditional
a
days.
few years back. I've seen a video where like women were like was a Mekong too. So
oh really?
Really?
yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah. I've seen like
Cool.
like one video in the past, and then like when I was in college, and like I thought that was really unique.
Oh.
A good step forward to kind of change it up. I think it's pretty dope.
Yeah.
That's crazy because why don't weddings happen for when the groom goes and live with the daughter and the bride and them?
Like the punya,
What?
tu punya.
Yeah, say it
Right.
again.
Like, okay, so you know how like okay, we traditionally or the daughter comes and live with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are situations where the groom will eventually like live with the in-laws.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
So
I see what you mean.
So is there a wedding for that,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think.
Yeah.
or does that just happen after the fact?
I think
think
it
that
happens
happens
after the fact.
After the fact.
Like maybe they're going through hard times.
Right. Or sometimes like the groom will just
I never
Live with the
Yeah, I
in-laws.
guess I never knew that. I've always thought it was gonna be after the fact that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's always usually after the fact, after they do the
I mean,
wedding.
every circumstance is different, but I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like even if that was the case, they would usually just do what the traditional way is, and then at the end just go back wherever, you know.
okay.
Yeah, my opinion that.
Yeah.
So what if they agree that let's flip the marriage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now the the daughter comes and gets the son. Now how does that work? You know,
I think it would be kind of the same way too. I personally think it would.
and
I
then
mean, like,
end it at the
yeah, ended at the brides.
the
you know,
brides.
yeah.
I think I'm definitely worth 10. Okay.
Only day.
Cheng, what are some things that you like and don't like?
I think me personally, I personally do enjoy the whole entire process. For me, when I had mine, it was an eye opener to see why things occurred and why we still keep some traditions. For sure, I think the dowry part is kind of we don't have to do that. But otherwise, I personally for my kids, I think I would like to keep a good chunk of it. You know, some aspect of it too. I personally would want to learn how to do a mikong too and everything too. So, but otherwise, yeah, I mean, there isn't too much. I mean, yes, the drinking part could get a little excessive, but change that up a little bit. But I personally would keep a good chunk of it too. So I think it's just a good core part of what we Hmong people are and what our traditions are. Like I said, I feel like it's just nice to keep it alive and hopefully, you know, like I said, I think it's a beautiful process. So. Yeah.
And then Lee, I bet you just like the whole drinking process.
I mean, not the whole drinking process.
Only when he drinks.
I'll say I just like the Jing part, and then the when you go out the house part, and then you get slammed with beer there too. It's just the Jing part. I mean, I understand like the brothers and sisters in house that like the just a family, but like a distant cousin, like distant cousin, come
That you
get
don't
you.
know about?
Yeah, I don't know about, and like, oh yeah, I just met him today. I was like, oh yeah, I'm their distant cousin. Here's the shot. I was like, okay. And it's like, it's just, I think that's all that is just not really necessary to, do. That's the part I don't like. And then going back to, the ladies doing a lot of the work, was it, I feel like they do a lot of work. Well, when we did Chang's, I felt that, I wanted my mom, to not do a lot of work. So we catered, right? So
That's awesome.
the only thing they did was just the rice and lemon whole, and that's all I did because I didn't want like them to do a lot.
Yeah.
Don't cater the rest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it came from Taste of Thai.
But even with that, mom was like, "No, I still want to do it too." She's still accustomed to it too. So
That's just
Oh, that curry dish was Taste of Thai too?
the curry dish,
You guys had like a curry dish.
probably.
Again,
The Ken,
Oh,
yeah.
Canma.
Oh,
that
no,
was
no.
during
Okay.
that
My
was
bad.
during the.
That's not the hoopli.
Oh,
The
oh, oh, yeah,
yeah,
I see. what you
so when
mean.
they came back to
The
Yeah,
hoopli
okay.
is different. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
And that's a change,
Right,
now.
yeah, it
that's
is.
slowly happening. I'm starting to see that too. Like you want them, your whole family, including your
Yeah, to
mom,
enjoy
right,
it.
to be and your mom and dad to enjoy the wedding. So a lot of responsibility on the mother is usually the cooking process. So
Yeah.
like I think that's a great idea. I think it's a good change and where we're heading.
I think my family, we're starting to do that too. I think when we have gatherings, instead of us like buying things and cooking or like killing butchering a pig or whatever, and then making something out of it. It's more like I would rather have us spend time together and cater.
Right.
We're already dropping so much money to make food. Why not?
What's another a few dollars? What's an extra few dollars?
Why not just buy food?
Right.
It's that
Make it easy for us. Like.
Isn't it that the OG mentality, like save every penny you can?
Mm-hmm.
But then you as sons and daughters would then obviously have a voice and say, "Mom, Dad, like, relax, right?
Yep.
Like, let's just have a good time. Let's cater. Everything's gonna go smoothly. We can still do the nitty gritty tradition stuff that you guys want to do, but let's just not have family come cook. Let's not do any of that.
Right.
Let's just order. We're spending so much X amount of dollars already.
Yeah.
What's another few dollars?
Yeah, and sometimes that eating portion too is kind of like it has like a label to it, a representation to it, where this is my meal for my son and daughter, and I want to be the one that creates this meal. I guess that might be one of the say that goes into it. But yes, I agree though. At the end of the day, you want to be with your parents. You want to be with your family as much as you can in the wedding. And sometimes most of the time, it does interrupt a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, Chang, you said that you don't want to really. There are some things that you will continue with your traditions with your kids.
Yeah.
Right. So, how do you guys feel about that? Like, when our parents, move on to the next life, and the OGs, they kind of start going. How do you see yourself? How do you see yourself with your kids? Like, do you think you will take on this tradition? Do you think that when your son or your son's sons bring home a wife, you guys continue the Hmong tradition?
I actually don't think I will continue the Hmong tradition.
I think I might keep some aspect of it. Like I think with the chicken, I still wouldn't mind doing that. The hooply for my kid, whatnot, I wouldn't mind doing that. Maybe not so much for the names for the J, like the house, whatnot. But I still like saying even going to like butcher cows and pigs. I still want to do that for me personally. I think it's good to let my kids know where we get our food and everything.
What about the make only?
Oh yeah, that too.
So
that
you'll
too,
still
that too.
keep the make only
I would,
alive?
hopefully try to.
So then you're kind of you're keeping the whole tradition alive then.
I guess.
I don't think it would matter.
Small aspects of it.
It would matter if what you want to a cigar. I don't think it does matter.
That's the thing too. Like, even if I don't have that, I think just doing it just kind of like puts
Respect?
me back. Yeah. Well, like it just brings me down to my roots and where I kind of came from.
Sure.
So.
I think we should, if we keep anything, I think it should be simplified out.
I agree.
I think I just look at like other people and other like cultures that are like more simpler. Like they have so much more time to do X, Y, Z. They don't drop a lot of money on funerals, weddings, and stuff like that. So I think there has to be awakening to like a point where it's like it doesn't make sense anymore. It's like we're dropping so much like money for like funerals and cows and food. Like, why can't we just make this simpler? Like, because it never used to be like that until we've like lived here. So now it's like a lot of reputation, a lot of face value. Like, oh, if you guys do a good funeral for your dad or mom, people will shaito you, right?
Or a wedding, a grand
wedding. Or a
right?
wedding, or, place that, like, you're going to use excessive money, like...
Because now people have money at this time.
Yeah, like, but I think, is it necessary? Is it necessary? Does it make sense at the end of the day?
That's the real question. Is it necessary? Does it make sense for you?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, when they're done, they're gone.
They're gone. It's you.
It's you, man.
Everything's gonna fall back at you.
Yeah.
You're $30K down.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. They like, oh, hey, that was an awesome party. That was an awesome wedding.
That's it.
But that's it.
Next morning,
you're
$40,000.
you in the red. Like they like people look. People call, but at the end of the day, are you really happy with that? Take care of yourself, man.
Yeah. Do you, bro?
Yeah.
I agree, man.
So
but bro, hold on. Let me argue that though. But Mikau weddings are like that too.
I was gonna say
So,
Mikau
like,
weddings are way more expensive than
Mikau weddings. You're dropping 20, 40K sometimes. I mean,
Is that tradition though?
No.
for Mika weddings?
I mean, it's not.
I think that's because maybe they want to do it. It's not like, oh, I have to do
I
it.
have to do
yeah.
it. Sure.
That makes
You
sense.
know.
Right.
Makes
Right. Right. So it's not like.
So
oh,
when you want to, you're happily doing it. You know, like versus like,
I'm forcing.
hey,
Because of traditions.
now what I gotta do? Or now I'm in debt. Now I feel miserable after. I don't know what to do. You know, like now I owe people.
Yeah. Every time I see my cousin, now I owe him money.
Yeah.
He might ask me. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Now I gotta
"Hey."
bow down to him
Awkward.
every time.
Right.
You know, like he says whatever I gotta go with. You know,
Yeah.
so I owe him.
That's actually a really good point, and I can vouch off of that. But it's not the monetization part. It's more like the part that kushunya, whereas like you go to help you go through this process, then you're screwed.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like us Hmong culture, like my dad coming from like to Dunju and stuff like that, and go we based on your law. So like it's like I guess we're like in a sense like really need guti to survive. But really though, like I think we're in a society nowadays like no, like we don't. Like dude, if my son, so like for example, if my son right now, like in the next whatever 20 some years he goes and married, why do I need to go to my community like to bless me, to help me make this wedding? If it's not for them to make this wedding go, it's not gonna go. Like I don't get that. I feel like it's just
I feel like at the end of the day, it's just how they grew up, man. Like they're
Right.
just so accustomed to it. It's the same thing as like LP, where my mom was like, "Oh, we're gonna cater still," but it's like, no, I still want to cook too. You know, it's
Right.
like they're just so accustomed to it. And it's hard for them.
I just don't like that idea of like, oh yeah, you more guti to buy you or don't try to go through. Like I think that's just there are weddings that can happen with or without guti.
Oh, I agree.
I get
Oh,
the
for sure.
importance of guti and
Yeah.
family and community, but like for someone to be like, oh yeah, this wedding is gonna be trash.
Yeah.
But it's
gonna be small.
exactly what Ching said. I was talking to an OG this past recently, and I asked him this question. I sat down with him and I asked him. I was like, "Why is it that you think that you have to help someone for them to help you? Why is it that you have to go bonjour, right?
Yeah.
We call that the term." And he said, "Oh, we've always done that."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
because you to Hmong people, to the OGs, it's all about face value. Like it's who you know, how much people are have your back.
Yeah.
And when he said that, I'm like, yeah, I get it. And then it goes,
Strength in numbers.
Yep.
Yeah.
and I get what you're saying, because when will that happen? Be like, when will we have that situation where, you know what, I don't need you to do my wedding.
I don't even know you.
Yeah, like
Right.
exactly. Like, but it goes back to saying, when will that happen? Like something needs to happen. A trend needs to start to where, like, you know what, I don't need you guys to.
Well, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I think of that even now, kind of like it's kind of like how like when I think of like when I come help you guys, like it's not like I'm gonna come help. Hopefully, you guys can help me one day. It's just, like,
Correct.
Exactly.
Like you guys are my boys, and like that's what like family does and everything. Like what friends do. Like yeah, I'll definitely help you regardless if you can't help.
But
with
see,
that.
OGs, it's
I
like
know,
a
yeah, and totally
OGs. It's an
understand
unsaid rule.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I come and help you.
I
I don't need to tell
expect-
you,
yeah.
but you need to come help me
I
when the time
expect
comes.
you. Yeah.
Whereas for us, like you said, yeah, I'm gonna help you, but I'm not gonna tell you that. But you just know that when I need help, please come help me. It's like that, right? For them, it's like, I'm here for you.
You gotta.
You need to come help me when,
Right.
when the time comes.
The key word is genuine. I think you mentioned it before with
Yeah.
"hodetja," right? "Tolejeng," I wish it was like a genuine jeng. I would do it. That's the same thing with what we're saying here. If it was a genuine ba, I love that.
Yeah.
But if it's gonna be an obligatory like
You gotta
request,
come,
Right.
bro.
dude,
Yeah.
like that, I feel like that we gotta move away from.
Especially when they call you out on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, "Hey, you don't remember that time when I got your bag?" Da, 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 da?
Oh gosh.
You know, like, you don't remember this time, whatever it is. Like, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
like I didn't say I don't remember it, but
Right.
that means that wasn't genuine. You know,
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like that's a aspect that I think Beidri they'll kind of
yeah.
away from.
But I think one thing I want to say too, I think yes, and to that point too. But like, I feel like with that kind of like with the OG like mindset, I feel like it's kind of like back then, at the same time, like it was essential because like everybody's a Sonya down,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think with
For
that
sure.
mindset, like everything was done like beautifully too, even regardless of all the like the hardships and whatnot.
sure.
Because like all these, like you said, back then, no one had a lot of money to cater
Right,
or like
right.
have anybody come help out whatnot, and all this was because of that. And I think that was what really made us Hmong people really like work hard and prosper and get where we are
Bond
now.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually agree with you 110% there. It goes back to genuine and intent.
Yeah.
Like, you genuinely, mo ba community, huh? Not to expect anything back. Dude, that's just you being a good person.
Yeah.
Like, but if you go out to ba community to expect some stuff back, then it shows the type of person who you are. So like,
Right.
I think it's just, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, it comes down to two characteristics: genuine and intent. So like, if you're doing things in the right way, that's great. But if you're forced to do it, then like, dude, that's something that I think we all got to change.
I agree.
It's not gonna happen overnight, but I think it's gonna be a process of like,
Small changes.
Like,
man. That's,
hey, he did the wedding in 3 hours and it works. They're happily married. They like
and every like circumstance is different too. But like I said,
Why not,
I
you know?
think what we're seeing for sure, it's like it's starting to be a lot easier, and it started to like really, dwindle down and whatnot. Same thing with funerals too. It's not like such a long, lengthy, expensive process now. Everything's starting to. I've even heard OGs talking like, yeah, why are funerals so expensive? We need to cut it down and everything. So for sure, I'm happy that we're moving towards that direction.
Yep.
yeah.
But yeah,
Why don't they spend that much money when there's a newborn
yeah.
and spend it when they go away? You know what I mean? Like,
True. Think about it like that. Yeah.
it don't make sense.
Yeah. As we sit down here and we kind of reminisce and talk about Hmong weddings, viewers, like we said, we don't know the details of it. There are some things that we might have missed, if there are things that we did miss, let us know in the comments, let us know. And, that way we can all learn together. We're still learning too.
I think, like, if we mentioned it before, like, I think we should have another part, a second part or something, or a third conversation about either
Just
Hmong
Hmong
weddings.
culture itself.
Yeah, but I would love to have a lady's perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Or even maybe an elder's
Yeah.
perspective, and
They could be
have
hella
that,
biased, dude.
that dialogue. I think that's
Yeah, where he could break it down.
break it down.
Yeah.
Build that bridge.
Bridge
Yeah.
that gap.
Bridge that gap. Yeah.
Now we can really shoot questions.
Right,
like,
right, exactly.
Put him in the
And-
hot seat.
and learn that way. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think if if we get a lot of feedback on this episode and you guys want to do no more, we'll take that process. We'll talk it over and we'll find someone that we can interview with, and that way we can all learn together. That's it for this episode. If there's anything else that y'all want us to talk about, feel free to write in the comments. There's a lot of topics that could be talked about, and we're more than willing to talk about anything you want us to talk about. And if you're new to the channel, and you would like to help support us, hit that like button, subscribe, and make sure y'all follow us on Facebook. Press that notification bell, and that way y'all get the most up-to-date content. But with that said, this is NoCoast, and we're signing off. Take care.
All right.
We're out.
Peace.
Deuce.